Hey guys, welcome to episode 1, part 1, whatever you want to call it, step 1, phase 1. Right, so today we're going to take a look at the car as I got it, pretty much stripped. I actually got it stripped. Parts were on the car just for the delivery purposes. Some parts were there so that people wouldn't lose them, I guess. I don't know. But the car is pretty much stripped. The engine's out. You'll see that a little bit later. I actually put it out on the bench and shot it there. So engine's out, suspension's still in the car. We won't be taking that out now because we've got plans for that. That'll be episode 2, you'll see. But yeah, so for this episode, we're going to take a look at the car without anything on it. So pretty much just a shell. You can then get a closer look as to what the engine bay looks like. It's pitted and there's some rust holes here and there. So as well as things like the floor. When we went to go look at the car, they had welded in new floors, but from the top. Here's a photo here. This is basically when we went to go look at it, so it was really difficult to get underneath. The owner of the car did tell us there was a little bit of work to be done on the floor, the one sort of part of the chassis that needs to be redone. It's quite rusted quite through. So anyways, when we got the car, we actually had a proper look underneath and a little bit more work than we initially thought, but it is a almost 50-year-old car, so you can expect the floor to be pretty shot. So it is, but it's okay. I mean, it's workable. At the same time, anyways, yeah, so at the same time, in saying that, we've got really lucky. Our A pillars are fine. You know, where the windscreen is, there's no rust there. The D pillars or that back of the cab pillar is perfectly fine. Roof is actually the straightest part of the whole car. Had a look at the bonnet a little bit. There's a couple of dings here and then. I think we can't panel beat out. Yeah, so overall, pretty good condition for a 50-year-old car and for the price I got it. So thanks, Harry, appreciate that. We'll see us trying to basically get the car to stock first, so that it's safe, secure, strong. Unfortunately in South Africa we don't get patch panels or replacement panels like you guys do in the UK or in the US. So we would have to make sort of a lot of patches, like patch pieces, and fill them in. We're not a professional garage, it's literally DIY home stuff. A guy by the name of Home Built by Jeff, he's brilliant at this stuff. Also we're using arc welders, and it's ridiculously difficult on this thin steel that's on the car still. It's even thinner than it was when it left the showroom or the factory floor. So we're doing our best, but it is strong. We're going to seal up all our joints with some Sikaflex or some, I think we've got Henkel, same thing. And then a little bit of stone chip to finish it all off on the floor. But that's coming in episode 2, you'll see all about it. You'll see us go through all of it. I'll go into a lot more detail in that one than I do in this video. So this video being a first one, it was tough. Shooting this stuff is tough. You know, angles and stuff like that. Also my dad got stuck in a lot of the times when I was at work, so sometimes I didn't catch a lot of footage, but you know, we'll take you through the build. This episode, like I said, we'll show you just a little bit of a time lapse through the engine bay. Not much to do there. Yeah, so let me take you through the car and let's get to it. Okay, so as you can see, we have a bit of a kink here. I think I'll show you from this side, you'll be able to see a bit better. There was an accident on this side, so obviously what happened was this whole portion kind of shifted a bit, and then this is where the repairs were made. So yeah, so if you have a look here as well, this is quite dented in, lost its shape and its form. We've gone ahead and cleaned up most of the engine bay, a little bit of pitting here and there. Now it's just kind of sanded a bit smooth and give it a nice primer, but it is sitting in the garage, so that surface rust isn't appearing too quickly. So I want to clean the engine bay up so that it's done. It's usually the last kind of thought of thing when I do things. So before the motor comes back and goes in, yeah, before the motor goes in, at least I know then it's done. It's cleaned up, removed all the rust. As you can see, I removed the battery tray. Battery's going somewhere else, and with that came a bit of a hole and a thinning of the metal, so got to cut that out, replace that with some new sheet metal. Like a moron, I went and bought 1.6 mil thick sheet metal, and that's a bit too thick for what these cars use. So I don't think any cars actually, maybe in the 1920s, but anyways. So I still need to get my hands on some 1.2 mil. I think it's got 8 gauge. I don't know how you guys measure it up there, but yeah, 1.2 mil thick sheet metal, and then I can climb in here and kind of really replace everything. But yeah, so on the fender side, it was a nice big denture. We've just worked that out a little bit off camera. Also, there's still a denture that I got to take out. I'll show you guys how that goes. A little bit of messing around with the bumper to get it lined up quite nicely, but got quite a nice line going on here. So once I spray some primer on it, I can really see. Kind of just going through what's wrong with it. Like I said, a lot of the cleanup and strip. It came kind of stripped, to be honest with you. The only thing we've taken off is the bonnet or the hood, on and off, and I took out the windscreen, so we don't break them. They're quite expensive. From a fender's point of view, as you can see, very smooth, very straight, which is nice. There's a little bit of a denture from a previous fender bender, if you could call it that. I'll just fill that in with a little bit of Bondo. I actually can't even get into the back there, it's quite tough, so it's not that deep. It's quite alright. Finish that off, clean up all this over here, get it going quite nicely. Get into the sills. This is the driver's side. The sills are quite bad, not too bad I'd say, but yeah, as you can see, a little bit of rust, previous repairs that need to be addressed. Same as underneath here, as you can see, not very great. Same with this. Someone welded that plating, but not very nasty. As you can see, I mean, you can't really see, maybe you can see if I do that. There's a nice little lip there, so this got to get cut out. And on the driver's side of the bin, so the quarter panel, the rear quarter panel on the driver's side, I don't know if I can get this, but she's quite dimpled and dented, so a lot of panel beating. Fortunately for me, it comes off, so I can get in underneath quite nicely. So yeah, so luckily for me, the bin comes off. I can then climb in underneath quite nicely. It's not a sort of double fender, it's just that and then the bin, so lots and lots and lots of space to work with. There around the arch wheels here, you can actually see quite a bit of work to be done. A little bit of surface rust, it's dented. This looks like old Bondo and a big crack, but on the inside it actually feels alright, so we'll see. Have a look here as well, previous repair, quite a bit haywire I think. I actually don't know, we'll have to just climb in there and fix that. There's a nice little line running along here, a little sort of line dent, sharpish, but not too bad. A little bit of work to be done. From a rear perspective, this is the wraparound tail lights that I was talking about, with the indicators and the reverse light. They sit very nicely. Only problem is you struggle to get lenses for them. I have found a guy who makes them from new, or makes brand new ones out of molds, which is quite nice, so they're not chipped or cracked or anything. So I'll be doing that. But what happens is a lot of guys take these universal tail lights and stick them on, and they cover this with a little bit of sheet metal. So I want the look, I like the look. Those are ugly, sorry for those guys who have them, but those are ugly. So as you can see, obviously the holes and everything are still here that I'm going to have to take out. I don't know if you can see that. As you can see, a little bit of rot going on there, but the nice thing is the bin does come off, so I can climb in there, grind that out, clean it out, and weld a new plate, which is quite cool. I'm going to have to remake the tailgate as well. There is one, it's just so much work to get right. Luckily for me, it's pretty straightforward shapes, and I've got a template to work with, so I'm going to make a whole new one. Bend that out sheet metal, I'll show you exactly how I do that. But yeah, fortunately for me, it's a Bakkie, or a pickup, or a ute. So I've got half a cabin and then just a bin, which is quite nice. But yeah, so coming down the passenger side, coming to the passenger side, as you can see, also pretty dimpled, pretty dented. So yeah, so this will have to again be panel beated and straightened out quite nicely. But again, the bin comes off, so it'll make my life a lot easier. The arch on this side isn't actually so bad. As you can see, a little bit of rust going on here, a little bit of something. I've just got to beat that straight. Same with this here. This side as well, a little bit of Bondo, body putty. Got to clean it up, fix it. But other than that, pretty decent. From the interior perspective, long bench, single long bench, has definitely seen better days. Probably just get that reupholstered for now. Might do the twin seat, might just do the long bench, I don't know. I like the idea of a center console with an armrest. Anyways, we'll see how it goes. But for now, makes a nice little place to sit while we're all talking nonsense. Other than that, doors are in pretty good condition. I haven't really dived into them yet, but I'll show you what those look like when I tackle them. Also went through the engine. There's a crack on the head. It's a 1600 overhead valve motor, not overhead cam motor like I previously mentioned. I think I might have mentioned it, I don't know. Anyways, so what that means is the cam sits further down as opposed to on top. Not an issue. Apparently they are as strong as overhead cam motors. Just beauty for me is it runs on a cam chain. So with regards to the engine, that I'll show you now. Everything's there. The block has been re-sleeved or ported and re-sleeved back to original, which is brilliant. The head's got a crack on it between the two water ports, very hairline, sort of thin hairline crack. I have been to two head guys now at the moment. They both say it's fine. A lot of 9 times out of 10, nothing really bad can happen except for blowing the head gasket. But I'm gonna stick it on there and take a chance. Anyways, everything else is there: starter motor, radiator, fan, chain, cogs, cam's been balanced, which is quite nice. Yeah, it's just pretty much got to be put together. I have to overhaul the Weber carbs because they have definitely seen better days. But other than that, I mean, yeah, pretty much there. So before I tackle the engine and get all excited about that, I want to make sure that the engine bay has been primed. I'm happy with it. Fixed up all those little minor holes and whatnot. Then I know, okay, safely. Oh, then the suspension's got to come out, have a look at that. Do all the bushings, all the ball joints, all of that kind of stuff. For now, I'm going to leave it at the ride out that it's at, because there's no motor and I can't really tell what I'm going to do with it yet. So from the back, it actually looks like it's got a nice ride out. So yeah, once the engine's in, then I can see exactly how she sits it normally. Then I'll be able to play around with, do I lower it, do I not? It is a torsion bar suspension system, and apparently you can adjust the bar setting that you can adjust to stiffer or softer or sort of ride height suspension. You can get about 1 inch and drop it by 1 inch or so, somewhere there. So yeah, besides that, like I said, I want to see what it looks like first. It's got 13s on there with 205s, 205, 50, 13 inch. Very small, excuse me, very small, but they came with brand new tires. So I'm going to burn those out until they float, then I'll put, until they're buggered, then I'll put 15s on there with slightly wider wheels, and then I'll look at doing the arches and all that stuff. I am going to be looking at fabricating the front lip spoiler. You'll see them on Camaros and sometimes Chevelles. I love the look of that lip, it's brilliant. If someone knows in South Africa where I can find one of those, the Golf ones, don't know if they'll fit, if it's wide enough. Let me know. If it follows the arch as well, let me know if you guys have done it before. There is a guy on Instagram that I found in South Africa who's done one on a red one. He's done their lip. It looks like an aftermarket lip, so it hasn't been fabricated. If you do know of one, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to make one and figure it out step by step. Right, so now that you've seen the car, you'll still see a lot more in-depth stuff as we go through it, but it's kind of just a quick overview of everything we have to do during this series. But yeah, so right now again, engine bay, show you what we've done there, and yeah, enjoy. Okay, so today we decided we want to finish up the engine bay and prime it. So that means dents, dings, holes, finish, close up, all of those things. So we're going to make a list quickly of everything we need to do before we decide to spray some primer. So don't get hasty, we don't rush it. And yeah, so here goes. Right, so there's our list. Hopefully we can still spray primer today, this afternoon. Probably not, but we're gonna get into it. The list is there just to make sure that we don't miss anything. Just rush through. It's strictly engine bay only, so that it's done. Over it, move on. Yeah. A little bit of extra rust that we didn't expect. Yeah, where the heater fan box sits for your internal cooling. We've decided it's actually quite bad, so we're going to fabricate a piece that replaces this rusted area here, because I'm worried it leaks eventually. And I mean, you can actually see a few pinholes poking through here and there. So we'll prime it as is until I can spend some time and a little bit of time manufacturing or fabricating this more. Right, so we've gone ahead and washed the engine bay, cleaned up all the sort of dirt and dust and blown it out with some air. We're going to shoot the first little layer of primer and hope all goes well. Haven't done this in a little while, so... engine bay. Had a couple of issues yesterday afternoon with cobwebbing. Turns out it was the thinners we were using. It was terrible, so we gave it a little bit of a light sand and gave it another little bit of a spray over, and she's looking good. So for now she's primed. We'll throw a coat of paint on it with some clear coat at a later stage. But yeah, so in the meantime we are going to now sort out this little section. It's from a previous accident, it's been dinged and dented and not done quite right, so add a bit of filler in. But first I'm going to panel beat it, see if we can get it as close as possible to the original shape, and then fine tune it with a little bit of filler. So yeah, stay tuned. Right, so you've seen me use string on the top of the engine bay. I didn't learn that from anybody. I don't know if it's even the right way to do it, but it kind of helps me get the contour because it's quite a strange contour with the top. So I've just used string to kind of see if I can match the two up as best I can. So yeah, so then we just hit some sanding. Anyways guys, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it. Episode 2 will be coming out a lot sooner than this episode does. We've actually shot pretty much most of it. So yeah, maybe in about a week, 2 weeks, fingers crossed. The wife said I shouldn't promise these things, but I'm going to anyways. But yeah, so we are tackling the floor in the next episode. Not pretty, but strong, so we'll see. Actually quite a bit of work. We've dived into it, so we dived into it quite a bit and realized there's a bit more to do than I initially thought, but that's Project Car. So follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, Garage Smiths, there's an underscore on one of them, not sure, for behind the scenes shots of the build before the videos come out, a little bit of shenanigans that we get up to in this little DIY home garage of ours. Yeah, very basic little garage, but it's fun, it's a good place to be. So see you guys next time, thanks very much.